Welcome to session 2 on the crisis cycle. Today we're going to be focusing on why it's important to understand the crisis cycle when dealing with our own stress as caregivers. So, just a quick review to start with on what the crisis cycle is. When we look at it, we're looking at this line being baseline, and this which is our optimal best. When we're feeling good, we're thinking clearly, we're wide awake, we're feeling like we're hydrated, all of those things. When the further we get away from baseline, usually is when we're getting kind of irritated, aggravated, frustrated, and we're pulling away from baseline. When that happens, we're not able to think as clearly as we do when we're operating at baseline. All the way up to the fact that when we're way far away from baseline, we're only operating at 10% of our mental functioning capacity. So, when we look at this, I want to show you something exciting about this today that helps us know how we can bring ourselves back down to baseline quite easily, and it's called the control bullseye. So when we look at the control bullseye, we want to be on target with our thinking, which means we want our thoughts to be about what I can control, or what each person can control. What we can control, which means our actions, our words, our behaviors, our thoughts, and our decisions. If I'm thinking about things that are in my control and making decisions and processing those things, I can bring myself back down to baseline pretty well. So maybe I've just had an awkward moment with somebody and I feel kind of uncomfortable. I can tell myself, yeah, that was pretty uncomfortable. And I can start thinking about what do I need to do to take care of myself in that moment, which may be I need to breathe, I may need a drink of water, I may need to process that a little bit from the perspective of what I might like to do if I were in that situation again. But if I'm thinking about, I wish that person would have done something different, or how come they never think about this like I do, or I get worried and upset about what they're doing, then I'm going to be up above baseline. I can really bring myself out of baseline if I'm focused on things that I have no control over whatsoever. I have some influence on the people around me that care about me that I might deal with on a daily basis, but I have no influence or very little influence over the recession, politics, world crime, war, those kinds of things. And I'll tell you, I think it's easy for most of us to turn on the news for 15 minutes and have ourselves above baseline because we get focused on all these upsetting things that we have very little control over. So, to conclude this session on the crisis cycle, when we're caring for ourselves and we have this framework to work with, and when we start to feel ourselves come up off of baseline, it's not hard at all to take that control bullseye and make it work for us by just paying attention to what am I focusing my thinking on and bringing that focus right back onto target.